Hello everyone, welcome to another video where I'll be giving my thoughts on Bitcoin. A new week, new weekly open. So we'll cover the weekly time frame, obviously go to the daily as well as the lower time frames. I'll give my thoughts, give my plans for the week ahead, and what I think is likely to be next. All right, so let's get straight into the charts, starting off on the weekly. So we are watching this weekly range, right? With this 110k level as range highs and then the 75k lows as range lows. Pivotal mid-range, as you can see, confirming the range. We swept the range highs, right? Wicked into range highs as retest, got rejected initially. What were we saying? Well, we said if the weekly closes bearish and in the red, right, more likely to see at least some downside continuation, at least towards these lows down here, maybe into this consolidation, maybe into range mean, right? If we saw a bullish close on the other hand, and we pumped and closed in the green, we said that it was more likely that we were going to break higher and see more upside from the weekly close. Now, what did we get? Well, classic, whenever you have clean plans like that, the weekly pretty much closed neutral, right? I wouldn't necessarily call this a bullish close, but neither a bearish close in my opinion. So weekly not telling us that much. We can take a look at the weekly candle of this week, and as you can see, we already made a little wick to the downside, and it's in the green at the moment. So that time frame on the weekly, in my opinion, is looking healthy. We pumped right from well, we dumped initially a little bit from the open, then got back above the weekly open, and now we're looking strong. All right. So that on its own can give you a pretty clean invalidation on bullishness, which would be a break back below the weekly open. So let's mark out that level, because that's, in my opinion, gonna be an important level. The weekly open. There we go. You're also gonna see, if you draw that level to back here, right? If you just take the general area, you're gonna see that it's a pivotal area, right? It was this former resistance right here. If you take this as the break above, right? Not counting wicks, but counting the body closes, right? Then the retest of this right here is holding. So that could be an argument to be bullish on the weekly. Of course, there's multiple. The higher time frames are still very bullish in my opinion. Going to the monthly time frame, you're gonna see that we're above the monthly open as well. And if you draw that monthly open like this, you're gonna see on the lower time frames that the dump we got last week, if we quickly remove the other levels, so these, then it will be a little bit more clean, right? As you can see how pivotal the monthly open level has been. You can see that it was a beautiful retest of that monthly open, which held. Okay, so that's another bullish sign in my opinion on the higher time frames. Okay, so weekly time frame above the weekly open, monthly time frame above the monthly open, clean invalidations. If we break back below those levels, that wouldn't be a good sign. If you get daily closes below there, right, that's your signal to be cautious, to be a bit more bearish, probably to target first these lows, then into this consolidation, into range mean. All right, but as long as we're above, right, market structure is looking pretty bullish in my eyes. So what's the lower time frame range that we've been trading in? Well, taking this as a range high, these as a range low, because these were the lows that got swept here, that led to the pump back almost to all-time highs, right? As you can see, mid-range pivotal as well, here, 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 resistance. So beautiful price action around mid-range, and we're just slowly breaking above that range mean. So in my opinion, as long as we hold above the weekly open and the monthly open, we're looking good for a little bit higher at least. I posted a tweet this morning where I said I was watching the OTE area, right? OTE drawing from the high to the low, right? And where are people going to be looking for a retrace? Well, a bump into our OTE level, the 705 level, which lines up with first some pivotal price action as well, as you can see here and here. But secondly, and most importantly, this ugly wick here, okay? If you draw this wick, I think there's gonna be a lot of liquidity resting above there. And what's resting right above that wick? Well, the supply, the sideways price action right here that led to all of this downside. So telling us that people were accumulating shorts in this area. So unlikely we break through in one go. Of course, if the higher time frames are bullish, it can happen. But that's definitely an area where you wanna be cautious and just wanna keep an eye on. All right. So with that being said, what do I think is next? Right. I posted a trade in the Discord this morning where I said I was going long after we got this pump, right? The lower time frames were coiling up a little bit, and I thought that prices were going to trade higher because of the reasons I just gave, that we're trading above the weekly open, above the monthly open, and we have a clean draw on liquidity towards this high into supply. So that's why I entered a long this morning. That looks like this. What's my first target? Well, you can already guess, a sweep of liquidity above these highs into supply. I will take some off here and then we'll watch the reaction, right? If we sweep, reject and start to look ugly, I'll likely close. But if we pump in here, close above here and look strong on the lower time frames, well, at that point, I think a breakout is coming. These highs will likely be next, and at that point I don't think we stop there, and I think we really see new all-time highs into 112k. At that point, do I think we'll see a sweep and back down? I'm not sure, but yeah, we've seen on the weekly, right, just in this area, in this general area, if you draw it like this, how many times have we rejected in this area? Ask yourself that question. 1, 2, and that was a sweep on its own, right? Then this was a sweep of all-time highs again. Then once again into that area, once again into that area. So I think the more we touch into 110k, there's gonna be a time where there's simply no supply there left, and I think we'll skyrocket to 120k at least. All right. So I will be watching my longs and I will be taking profit here because it's just a general area where you're gonna get fuckery, you know, where bears have a really clean invalidation as well. Bears know that once prices get above here, they're fucked, right? Then prices are likely gonna trade higher. And whenever you get that, you often get like those sweeps and those ugly moves back down into demand, and then a grind higher, sweep, reject again, higher until you get a real breakout. All right. But like I said, on the lower time frames, in my opinion, trapped between this supply right here and those higher time frame levels, the weekly open and the monthly open, getting above this area would be super bullish, and I think we trade a lot higher. Getting below the weekly open and the monthly open would be bearish and likely send us towards these lows down here. All right. So cautiously bullish. Well, maybe not cautiously. I am leaning bullish here. I do think we trade into above 108.4, which is this key high right here. The reaction there will be key and will be telling. All right. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe. Comment with your thoughts. If you want to join the Discord, by the way, all you have to do is sign up on Blowfin, make a deposit, start trading there, test out the exchange, and you're free to join. All right, I will see you in the next one. Bye.